day we've looked for, and we're grateful that you're here. We're going to do the right thing. We got a lot of people to thank. We're going to thank the Lord first.
Amen.
Thank you, Lord, for your goodness. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for this time together. Help us be wise. We seek your guidance, Lord, and thank you for all these leaders who've done so much. But now just help us get on with our work and be good stewards. And I thank you for this time in Jesus' name. Amen. It's fitting that we be here. There's a lot. There's some visiting. Some of this is going to be short. We hope to have some questions at the very end, and certainly be thinking what you'd like to say and offer, because there's a lot of this. Kind of goes back to one of those main equations. There's one of these and two of these, and we need to be doing a lot of listening and are interested in that. But it has been a long journey. But step by step we've got here, and now the work begins. We shall not rest. Georgia will be served, and that's certainly another commitment of everyone that is here. I'm very pleased to introduce, to kick off this discussion, a friend who I remember being in a Chevrolet Suburban in 1992, looking at soybeans. About 3 weeks before he was elected to the United States Congress out at, and we were out here at Sunbelt Expo in 1992. He's chair of a very important appropriations committee for all of us, and has played a strong part in this endeavor. Y'all help me welcome your Congressman, Sanford Bishop.
Thank you, Gary. I am so glad to be here. Truly, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, because today we can come together and we can truly celebrate. We can celebrate a victory that will help us to demonstrate what we have always known, and that is that Georgia farmers and our communities are resilient. We face adversity, but we bounce back, but we now have the resources on the way. And the Secretary, my good friend Sonny Perdue, is going to tell us how we're going to get it and how quickly we're going to get it. But I just want to say this. It has been a collaborative teamwork effort. It's not a Democrat or Republican effort. It's an American effort. It's a Georgia effort. We've had cooperation from the governor, from the commissioner, from our House delegation, our Senate delegation. And so we've worked together, and with the help of the Secretary, we have made it happen. And we are grateful to God and grateful to all of you for the support that you gave us. I would be remiss if I did not give a shout out, though, to my neighbor and my colleague, Austin Scott. We were hit. Both of our districts were hit by Hurricane Michael. We traveled around together. We were here in Moultrie with the Davises and the Lassiters early on. We met with the forestry folks. We met with all of the commodity groups. And we did that constantly from October all the way up through last week. But I want you to know, and we're in Austin's district, so those of you who are from this district, you ought to know you got a bulldog working for you. Right. And I think that there are people on both sides of the aisle that can attest to the fact that Austin has been fighting for this disaster relief. And together, though, we've all been able to come together to make it happen, and soon we will have the relief. So I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to say thank you that you have supported us in our efforts to help Georgia agriculture and to help American agriculture. Truly, we in Georgia are leaders in agriculture. Number one in pecans, number one in poultry, number one in blueberries, number one in privately owned timber. But we got hit hard by Michael. And commodity prices, tariffs, and the disasters have really, really struck us hard. But we are resilient, and we are going to come back, and we're going to do our darndest to make sure that we are as strong as ever before, because truly, in America and in Georgia, we produce the highest quality, the safest, the most abundant, and the most economical food and fiber anywhere in the industrialized world. And you're the ones that do it. So give yourselves a round of applause. I'm glad to be your representative, and I'm glad that the voters have continued to send me back so that now I'm in a position where I can truly be helpful. As chair of the Agriculture, Rural Development, Federal Drug Administration Subcommittee of the Appropriations Committee, it puts me in a position at the table to really implement and to try to put in place policies that will help us to keep Georgia and American agriculture strong. So thank you, and God bless you.
You know, when you give a speech from time to time, and there've been a lot of those by a lot of the people that are here today. We try to, you might come up with a quote, and one that I've heard from time to time is actually ascribed to the wrong person, but I think it actually gets to the heart of what we're doing, because it's been said many times. Matter of fact, Secretary first went back to Secretary John Block, 85, because he said Winston Churchill had said it, but he actually never did. It was an Israeli politician, but you know, basically that Americans will eventually do the right after they've exhausted all of the opportunities. So, Churchill never said that, but that's kind of where we are. We had there was a lot of things that were happening the last few months, but now we have eventually done the right thing, and it is something to celebrate. I will just I know the governor is going to recognize our legislative delegation from the state here in just a moment, but just as a personal word of thanks to them, thank you. We did Georgia did step up those kinds of things with our Safety 21 loan program. Those have been executed. I'm happy to report to you that 276 of those loans that were put forth through 2 tranches of appropriations from the state legislature and this government, $74,931,000 worth of loans have been closed and funded, and those farm families are operating. And many of those we were able to step up, but for that, many more families would have been compromised. But I guess what I'm hopeful, Mr. Secretary and others, and just know that from an operational standpoint, we're ready. Whichever part of this is block grant, and whichever, you know, we've got a lot of details to work out, but we believe we have an operational plan that will work, whether it's in the direct payments or even helping again with this loan program if it is possible. But you can be sure that your Department of Agriculture here at home is ready to go, and we've got a good team ready, folks ready to go to work. I am so thankful for the leadership of Senator David Perdue. It has been a constant stream of information to make sure that the administration is plugged in and make sure that Senate leadership is going to be in a place where it needed to be. But for that leadership in the Senate, I still wonder, you know, if we would not be here today without the leadership, certainly of Senator Johnny Isaacson, but then our next speaker. Y'all help me welcome Georgia's Junior Senator, David Perdue.
I know this is going to disappoint y'all, but I don't have a speech this morning. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your patience. This was embarrassing, and I apologize for representing the United States Senate. This took 8 months. That's ridiculous. The longest disaster relief that we've had in the United States was 2 months. That's Hurricane Sandy back in 2013. This took us 8 months, and it wasn't anything but partisan politics. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything else today. But I will tell you this. You had some warriors in this state. And I want to talk about Gary Black. Week after this happened, we had people down here looking at the damage. Gary was measuring the damage, how much we needed to get back on our feet. And he's been a warrior through this whole thing. We wouldn't be here without Gary Black and his organization. And the most important thing, what he's going to do now, is going forward, how do we get this money back out into the field and make it go to work? But I also want to thank the delegation, both House and Senate. Johnny was a stalwart in this thing, put this bill in early. We've been fighting back and forth about how to get it done. but I really want to thank our governor. I just want to tell you, there had been a week that went by since October the 10th of 2018 that Governor Kemp and I had talked about this. You might remember that was in a pretty tough time in his life back in October, November of last year. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate it and how much you'll never know behind the scenes he did to make this happen. Called the president, called people in Congress, called the senators. This is a warrior that just would not let up representing the state of Georgia. And you would be really proud if you knew everything that Brian Kemp had done. Governor, thank you so much for everything. And we're lucky in the state of Georgia that we got a real farmer who's the Secretary of Agriculture. And doing every Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock, 12 or 14 other cabinet members have a Bible study. And I know how much they've prayed about this thing over the last 8 months. I'm getting good at this, y'all. I used to be down here a lot, and I know how to get rid of these little buggers. But Sonny Perdue in this thing with the president helped bring him down here early, came down with the vice president. I was with the group. Some of you were here in Moultrie and other places and saw the damage. And they both said, we're going to have your back. But behind the scenes, Sonny represented the needs of the agriculture community across 6 states in order to make this happen. And it would not be, we would not be here today had he not been getting the president prepared and ready to make the kind of decisions that had to be made to make this thing work. So, Secretary, thank you very much. I'm not going to beat this, but yesterday on Air Force One, President Trump signed the disaster relief bill on the 75th anniversary of D-Day. He and Vice President Pence were here early and often, and they told you one thing. They said they'd have you back, and they did. Promises made, promises delivered. Thank you all for being here, and I really appreciate your patience the last 8 months. Thank you.
This is special, and folks, the most respectful thing, honestly, the most respectful thing I know to do is to say, join me in welcoming, ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Agriculture for the United States of America, the Honorable Sonny Perdue.
Thank you, Gary. That's probably the most honest introduction I've had in a long time. You know, you talked about what Winston Churchill didn't say, but we do know what he did say, particularly his David reference, the 75th anniversary of D-Day. It was Winston Churchill in England as they were bombs dropping all around London. It said, never, 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 never give up. And that's the way I feel like I'm in a group of people that never give up, because that's what it takes to farm today. So thank you all for your perseverance. Thank you for your persistence. And thank you for what you do in putting food on the table of our families all across America and all across the world every day. That's how important it is. And this country owes you an obligation to help you continue to do that. Hurricane Michael was an unusual storm, and I remember standing on a shed like this at the farmer's market in Cordele. There was a lot of anxiety and a lot of frustration almost that 8 months ago. And we didn't know where we were going to go. It's taken too long, but we're here, and David and Sanford have talked about giving thanks. Obviously, we are very appreciative of the General Assembly and Governor, you and them, and Gary administering the money that you've already done through the state coffers. But you shouldn't have to do it by yourself. This was a national emergency. We've done this before. We did it the year before. And we want to thank everyone who had a part. Many of those have been called out. But for those of you who've had Austin Scott represent you for a number of years, you know how patient and calm Austin can be. And he was a stalwart of patience through this whole process. And just remained calm there in D.C. while things were just flittering along. But he stirred up enough dust up there in everybody's face to make it happen. So Austin, thank you for your tenaciousness and again, not letting any of your leadership on either side forget about how important this was to issues and reminding them. Obviously, you know Sanford Bishop has Sanford and I have served in the state senate together, and he has been in D.C. for years and gained the respect of his colleagues, now serving obviously in a very important position for USDA, and I rely on his leadership a lot and his friendship and collaboration on how we try to work together, not just in this effort, but all over for agriculture around. So Sanford, I'm grateful for where you are as chairman of the subcommittee on appropriations for our entities, and we rely on you. We appreciate the ability to know one another personally, firsthand. We can say things to one another we couldn't say to other colleagues up there probably. So thank you very much for what you do. I also, David's been very gracious about giving thanks, but I want you to know when he was here with the Vice President and the President looked at us and directed both of us as he was here to say, you take care of our folks. This is horrible. I've never seen anything like this. You know, you take care of them and we're going to be there. He didn't understand why it's taken 8 months, I can tell you that. He's about as patient as Austin Scott. But nonetheless, we're here, and what I want to commit to you today is David was in the ear. David has a unique and a trusted relationship with President Trump, and he relies on David in many things in the United States Senate. David's been a stalwart supporter in many ways. David has a relationship with President Trump that he can speak pretty candid to him. When he thinks he's right, he tells him and encourages and works for him. He has a unique relationship when he thinks he's not on the right track. He's able to do that. So that is a valued commodity in a democratic republic, to be able to tell the leader of the free world that you're doing good, let's do more of it, or let's think about another way to do things. So David, I know we're related, but I can tell you I'm proud to have you as my United States Senator. We'll deal some questions as we finish here today and get maybe your answers. I hope you'll have issues that you want to talk about. That's why we're here to listen. Somebody thanked me for being down here today. I said, you're thanking me for getting out of D.C.? And I've missed these gnats, I'm telling you. But nonetheless, the good thing about, I guess, if there's anything good about having two disasters in a row, is that we have a framework at USDA. I'm hopeful we'll have this program implemented in weeks, not months, and hopefully get the money in the pocket sooner rather than later. It's been long enough, and that's what I'll commit to you today. And we're not going to let any grass grow under our feet as far as implementing this program and getting you the dollars you need to go and do it again.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Folks, this is my work iPhone. This is, and I think it's an iPhone 10, and y'all know there's pretty good capacity there. This is my Austin Scott phone because I didn't have enough memory for all the texts that I got during this whole process. We have been many a night at past 11 o'clock when new information that we were swapping back and forth, and I'm grateful. A stalwart, no doubt fighter, and I'm just honored to call him my friend. Y'all help me welcome Congressman Austin Scott.
I hope you'll delete at least some of the words from some of those texts, because after the past 6 months, some of them probably were not nice, and it's pretty bad when Sonny Perdue comes down and says you need to work on your patience, isn't it? I'm kidding, but right, I'm not. Look, this is just such a great part of the world to me, and it's such a privilege to represent people that quite honestly remind me of my family, and I think we are family, those of us in the ag community. It's been a long time coming, and I want to say a couple of thank yous. First of all, I want to thank Congressman Bishop and Senator Perdue, and I want to say a special thank you to their staffs and to my staff as well. A lot of the work is done at the staff level, and we started out talking about $1 billion for disaster relief for agriculture for all of the 2018 storms for all the states. and we ended up at $3 billion. While the agreement was made at the member level, a lot of that work was done at the staff level, and so we need to be forever thankful of our staffs and the help there. The other group I want to thank is UGA and the Extension Service. Being armed with the facts for just how big the storm was and the storm losses were is what gave us the ability to move that number to what I think, when it shakes out, may still be a little short, but it'll go a lot further than the $1 billion would have. But the University of Georgia and the Extension Service, getting us the numbers and getting them to us in a timely manner, and where it armed us with the facts that we needed to go forward and press for. And then, whether it's Farm Bureau or the peanut guys or the cotton guys, the commodity groups that were up there, making sure that we had the information that we needed as well on updated loss numbers. That the more information we have, the more it helps us get out there and get the job done for you. And I want to then say a special thank you to our state leaders, Gary Black and Brian Kemp, and texting back and forth late at night, trying to make sure we were all on the same page and keeping this thing moving forward. And I will tell you, one of the things, I was very concerned, nobody wants to say the word, but I will tell you, I was very concerned about suicides, things we've seen in the past with farmers when we've had, and farm families when we've had these problems. And I was very thankful for what the different organizations did with trying to reach out to people where maybe they had heard that there was some mental issues there. I'm sorry, that didn't come up. Where there was some pain there that people just needed some help resolving. This shouldn't have taken this long. When you see somebody hurting as bad as some of our neighbors have, make sure you're reaching out to them. They need to know other people are going through it with them too, and that there's always hope, and that's not ever the answer. But the state and what y'all did with the loans, the state legislative delegation. I know there's several of you here. Raise your hand if you would, if state legislators. Had y'all not done that, and our governor Nathan Deal and Governor Kemp and Gary Black spearheading that, had y'all not done that, I think we would have seen a tremendous number of bankruptcies throughout Farm Belt of Georgia, and I want to thank you for that, and I hope that other states will look at what you did and maybe copy that in the fall as we go forward to help their communities as well. The one thing I want to end with is we got to do better. We can't. We're going to have to do something so that USDA or the agencies have the ability to help get our farmers the money before the planting season comes around. There's a lot of land that didn't get planted right now, and there are a lot of farmers that aren't going to be farming this year because of how long it took. And we've got to do better and make sure that that as things go forward, that the resources are there so that this doesn't happen again and actually cost somebody in the next planting season. But thank you so much. God bless you. And it's a great privilege to represent you. And please delete any texts that were inappropriate.
It's an honor to go to work every day with the 83rd governor of the state of Georgia, and I'll tell you this right now, he has explained our situation very clearly in many places that you'll never know, and it is so good to have that passion and to be that respected. And we honor him, ladies and gentlemen, the 83rd governor of the state of Georgia, Honorable Brian Kemp.
Very much for being here. Thank you, Commissioner Black. I know that many of you have wondered if anybody was fighting for you. I know it's hard, especially with folks that are in Washington battling every day, because you're not seeing them like you're seeing your state representative or seeing a story about your governor. But I can promise you, the people on this stage never quit fighting for you, literally every single day. And I was clearly frustrated. I said that many times, but I can tell you that I've had countless conversations with the delegation, with the president, with the vice president, with Secretary Perdue, and we never forgot you. And I know it was frustrating for you because Georgians have always supported disaster relief in other parts of the country, because luckily we've been spared many times. And I know it was frustrating to see how long this took, but this crowd up here never quit fighting. And I want to thank the president for his support. He, as David said, he never wavered. Every time I talked to him, he would tell me, I told Sonny Perdue to take care of the farmers. And he meant it. And I want to thank Secretary Perdue, not only for his support on this issue, but for his support for agriculture. He has brought a different dynamic, in my opinion, to the USDA and to the position of Secretary of Agriculture. So thank you very much. I want to thank our delegation up in D.C., our two senators. David Perdue is right. We talked almost daily, and my staff was talking with his staff. The same for Congressman Bishop and Congressman Scott and our congressional delegation. We were all working on this issue, and I think that was very important for people. Even though it took a long time, we never lost faith. You know, we had to keep this on the radar. That's what I was trying to do, and Gary Black was trying to do, and it was frustrating for us sometimes that the national media wasn't writing about the devastation here in Georgia, because it happens in a rural community where the populations aren't great, and nobody's seeing it every day. But we knew how devastating it was. So I want to thank the delegation for literally bulldogging this issue through. If it wasn't for them and for battling hard, it would not have happened. So I'm very grateful for that. I know our local legislators, our state legislators have been recognized, but again, if you're here, would you please stand or raise your hand if you're in the back? It does not go unnoticed. Go unnoticed the bipartisan early support of disaster relief during the special session, and also the money that was put in again in the amended budget this year when things had stalled. We continued to send the message to folks down here, and it was literally about all that we could do to help, and the only thing we could do. But it sent the message that we were paying attention in Atlanta, and your legislators were paying attention in Atlanta. And I want to thank them for what they have done. I also want to just let you all know that we've got to keep fighting. You know, my job now, and Commissioner Black has also been there every step of the way, educating me, plotting and scheming with me. So I have the right message that I'm taking to the right people to give him flexibility. And that is what I'm hopeful for now that the bill is passed and been signed, is that Sonny Perdue, or Secretary Perdue, will be given the flexibility to give people that are in a position like Commissioner Black the opportunity to move the money quickly, whether it's block grants or however it's coming. And I know that they understand that, but you can count on us to continue to sing that message and not have this tied up with bureaucratic red tape, because we know it's been too long. We don't need to be any longer than it has to be to get the money out. But I'm grateful for all the support on the stage, and I'm grateful for you all hanging with us, hanging with the great profession that you are in, and supporting your local communities, and we will continue to fight hard for you. Thank you.
Chairman of the Cotton Commission of the great state of Georgia is Mark Davis, and most everybody here under the building knows we at his place. So we want to thank him for being a great host, and he and his family for their leadership in in Georgia agriculture. But Bart's going to kick off talking about these next three. What is the direct impact of the farm family? Where are we? Where are you, to the extent you can share, and just also have that producer perspective of why taking quick steps now is so important. Y'all join me in welcoming our host and chairman of the Cotton Commission, Bart Davis. Bart.
Thank you, Gary. First of all, my family and I like to welcome each and every one of y'all here to our farm today. This is where we live, this is where we make our living, and this is our lives. It ain't always about just the farmer. This disaster is for rural America, it's for Georgia. It ain't only us, it's our employees, it's our cotton gins, our peanut mills, it's the whole deal. I mean, this deal here, Hurricane Michael is devastating us. And this means so much to me, my family, and all the farmers in South Georgia. It's an honor to have all these dignitaries here today at one time in one place here on my farm. I appreciate y'all coming. Now, Austin down there, they said he was like a bulldog. I was up there the other day, I believe he could hate a bulldog. He done about had enough. But I'm telling y'all, if it wasn't for these, we wouldn't be here today celebrating this disaster bill. They never give up. My daddy always told me, son, said when something bad happens, it's dry here, don't keep your head up, keep moving. All the farmers in Georgia have, and these guys here, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate what y'all have done for us and as farmers. This disaster bill is very important to all us farmers. I mean, people don't realize when you have a devastation like that, the loss, stuff you worked for all your life. I'd like to thank all the bankers, the seed chemical fertilizer people, the tractor dealers. They all have talking to them. They extended credit, put off loans to farmers, banking on this disaster bill coming. Some of us getting a little nervous, but it's coming. It's coming, and Sonny, we hadn't really talked about it. I'm sure he's going to do the best he can quick as he can to get this money in the hand of the farmers so people can rest a little easier and keep moving forward. I mean, you know, when you farm, you can't just stop and say, you know, we had this storm, you can't wait 6 months and start a crop. You know, we've already started a crop. Here we are sitting here and hadn't had rain in 5 weeks. That ain't good. But this might be the best week in Georgia agriculture ever. We got disaster bill passed, and we're gonna get some rain. Good Lord's gonna send us some rain. But also, people just don't know how many phone calls, conference calls, meetings, trips to Washington. I mean, to get this done, people didn't give up. I'd like for all my cotton industry colleagues out here, please raise your hands. Kent, Ronnie, all y'all guys. These guys has worked tirelessly too. I mean, just every day we're on the phone, every night, trying to get this done. But this money is going to be very important. Hopefully, Sonny and them can get it worked out when we get our money here in the next few months. People rest assured, and it's going to mean so much to the farmers of rural America, rural Georgia. Thank y'all for coming.
Next, to give us a little bit of family perspective too, because he works with so many of them. He helps put loan packages together. He works with their crop insurance contracts, and certainly just right there on the ground floor in his own community over in Early County. Y'all help me welcome Hank Jester.
I feel real inadequate standing up here today with the crew that we got at this table, but when Gary Black calls you and says, Hank, I need you to do something, you sort of don't turn him down, because I got a lot of those late texts from Gary over the last 6 months. One thing I want to say thank you to is, we think about the families that were involved. I can remember October 9th, me and my wife sitting on the back porch, and we were watching trees go this way and that way, and at 11 o'clock that night, I texted a good friend of mine and said, I'm going to need you in the morning, and 15 minutes later, I had a text from him, and 8 o'clock in the morning, he was there with chainsaws, and we were cutting pine trees so I could get out in the driveway. And I own a small insurance agency in Blakely, and we had claims coming in left and right. So it's as you said, it's not only the farmer, but all the businesses in South Georgia. We all revolve around the farm family. And I just appreciate what the farm family has meant to me. The 35 years I've been working for them. But if you think about it, every farmer was affected in some way in Southwest Georgia. I got one farmer I know that I insured that didn't have a single claim, but that's few and far between. So everybody was affected in some way. I want to thank Gary and Governor Kemp and Dean Burke, my senator, and the rest of the delegation in the state, Freddie and everybody, that the Safety 21 program was a godsend for us. We had a lot of farmers that might not be farming today, might not have that crop planted part if not for that Safety 21 program. So if we can put a little more money in that Safety 21 program, Mr. Perdue, we sure would love to see that happen also. One thing else I think the folks need to realize, and Bart mentioned this, banks have been really gracious. I think most farmers, we're farming again because of the bank's patience, and they're banking on our delegation doing just what it did and the money coming to us. Now 2020, if we didn't have this disaster program, 2020 might be even a harder year to get us started. But banking on this and then getting to us in a short amount of time is what we really need. But I want to thank those bankers. And the other thing, Bart alluded to this too, your chemical dealers, I would think that chemical debt is probably at an all-time high. The company that I deal with, Nutrien there in Arlington, Nutrien has worked super with the farmers around Arlington. I'm sure Helena, R.W. Griffin, I'm sure everybody else has too, but I'm sure chemical debt probably is an all-time high, and they've been waiting patiently. So you do not know how much we appreciate it. From the Gary Perdue, from the livestock barn in Seminole County, the chamber building in Blakely. Brian has been to Doerun County several times, but before he was elected, after he was elected, before he came into office, we really appreciate what you try to do as a state. And Gary, I want to thank you personally as a friend. I know you texted me many times. I appreciate what you've done for the state of Georgia. But in a nutshell, Southwest Georgia was hit hard. I've never seen anything like this in 35 years that I've been in business. I deal with all over Southwest Georgia. Every one of them needs your help. Every one of them appreciates everything that you've done, from Congressman Bishop to Congressman Scott to Senator Perdue to Secretary Perdue to Gary to new governor. We just want to thank you, and let's get it to the farmer just as quick as we can, and anything we can do to help, we're here. Thank you.
I believe the number was $483 million. That's what the total loss was in the fruit and vegetable industry last fall because of Hurricane Michael. Dick Minor's a great leader in the fruit and vegetable industry in the state of Georgia. I have the utmost respect for him. Dick, thank you for being here. Tell us about your family and where y'all are today, and y'all help me welcome Dick Minor.
Well, first I want to thank all our leaders for taking the lead in this and never giving up, because at times there were farmers in our state that were really down because we never believed it would be passed. So thank you, Congressman Bishop, and Congressman Scott, Senator Perdue, Commissioner Black, and Governor Kemp, and Secretary Perdue, because there were some times we didn't think we were going to get this done. It's critical to Georgia, all of agriculture, but today I speak apart on especially crop producers, including pecans, peaches, and all the vegetable crops. And most of us don't have much insurance on those crops, and this last fall of 2018 was almost a total wipeout. We really don't know where our industry is going without this legislation. We're fighting a lot of battles, including the USMCA, the Mexican imports coming in on us. And to take a loss in 2018, the fall of 18 like we did, is devastating to our industry. I think we got to remember though that this disaster bill brings money to the farmer, but we will not hold this money long. This money will go in our accounts, and it's going to be funneled out to banks, to landlords, seed, chemical, and fertilizer dealers, tractor and equipment dealers, and it's going to spur our rural economy. And I don't know anywhere else we could put money that will help rural America, especially Southwest Georgia after this storm, than where we're putting it. This is the best place it can go, and we desperately need it. This storm has affected us, all the industries in South Georgia. I talked to a farmer after the hurricane, and he said, I want to tell you, this is going to affect us all the way down to the collection plate at our churches, and it has. And as you drive around South Georgia, when you see those unplanted fields that Congressman Scott talked about, that's just not a farmer not planting a crop. That's a whole town losing income, losing economic activity. My hometown of Sumter County is 86% agriculture. The economy is 86% agriculture. Without that agricultural business going on, all those truck drivers, all the stores, all the car dealerships, they're not doing well either. So the farmer has to be in business. Without the farmer in South Georgia, we have no economy. So we appreciate your diligent hard work on this. We really do. And we need to let the public know that this isn't just a check to the farmer. This is a check to spur on rural America. And we thank you. We appreciate your hard work. And we'll always be indebted to your service, and we will always support you. When you need us, you call us, because when we called you, you helped us and you stood up for us. And we greatly appreciate it.
God, we thank you for being here today. God bless you. God bless the great state of Georgia, and let's all work together. Thank you.